Hi, Daddy.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sam and Ryan channel. My name is Sam.
My name's Ryan.
Welcome to the Intelligent Drinking Game. Today, we're going to be drinking our feelings away.
Pour one out for Broadway.
Yeah.
We've been doing a lot of Broadway content on this channel, and on the car ride over here to shoot this, I was like, are we talking about Broadway too much? And Sam was like, no.
No, not even enough.
So we're gonna talk about it more.
We're going to talk about Broadway more, but specifically the Broadway shutdown, because we realize that we have done some Broadway content, and we've talked around the Broadway shutdown a little bit, but we wanted to do a dedicated Intelligent Drinking Game to talking about the Broadway shutdown. So here we are. If you're new here, welcome. Subscribe if you like this video.
Smash that subscribe button, turn on notifications, make sure that you're ready to get all of our content, you guys. YouTube.
All of the YouTube things. And welcome to the Intelligent Drinking Game. This is a game where we pick a topic, ask a question, take a shot, answer the question, and have a grand old time getting a little drunk.
The drunker we get, the harder the questions get, which means the more honestly we answer them. For a drunk mind speaks a sober heart.
It's gonna be a fun one.
No, it's not. Is it? I don't know. It's
yeah,
like sad,
actually, you're
though.
right. I'm excited to talk about Broadway, but it is a sad subject matter. So now I'm confused.
Should we pour one out for our homies?
Yes. Also, if you are unaware, Broadway is currently shut down.
Yeah.
We just kind of blew into this expecting everyone to know what's going on, but there's this thing called COVID-19. It has shut down a lot of industries, but it has fully shut down the Broadway and theater industry.
Sam did such an amazing thing the last time we talked about this. She did a plug for the Actors Fund, so I'm just gonna step right in her spotlight and do the same thing. If you have any money to donate, give it to the Actors Fund. It's an amazing organization that helps my community, everyone in my community who is suffering right now, because literally no one who works on Broadway has had a job and will have a job for the foreseeable future, and that's tough. But enough about that, let's get drunk.
Yeah, question number one.
I got you a lime.
Thank you. Dr. Fauci is predicting that if all goes according to plan with distancing, masks, vaccines, that Broadway could return this fall of 2021. So the question is, do you think Broadway will return this fall?
I was gonna say that one wasn't too bad for me, but then it got worse. I want Dr. Fauci to be right so bad. I want him to be right so hard, I can't even tell you.
The thing that makes me say no, and kind of the red flag in what Dr. Fauci said, is the phrase, if all goes according to plan. I think the vaccine would have needed to been distributed much more widely by the fall in order for Broadway to open. Like, I just don't think we're gonna get there. So that's the thing that just makes me really pessimistic about Broadway returning in the fall. Also, because a lot of people have to have a lot of conversations in order to line things up for Broadway to return safely in the fall. Like, no one knows what that is gonna look like.
Yeah, so
no is my answer.
Yeah, gosh, there's so much to cover here. No is my answer as well. I think if the past is any indication of the future, we know two things. One, that the government has just whiffed every chance they've possibly had to try to get this thing under control. And even though the United States has a new government, we don't get to just move on and you know, fix all the problems. We have to stop the bleeding first, and there's a lot of retroactive damage that we're gonna have to deal with. And also, we the people, we suck at this. No one is wearing masks. Everyone's tired of it. They're just like, whatever, we're gonna hang out with our friends. It's not gonna affect us anyway. Like, maybe it'll affect her or him, but it's not gonna affect me. And COVID is worse than it's ever been.
Yes.
It is, the numbers are out of this world, and people are fatigued, so they're treating it like it doesn't exist. Yes, it's in the government's hands, but the contagion of the virus is in our hands, and no one is taking it seriously, compounded with the fact that there's a new COVID variant that is even more contagious, and that the vaccine might not even work against. So, yeah.
I don't think it's gonna happen this fall.
No. Wow, we came in really hot on this
video. We did.
Do the questions get like more fun after this? Or?
Maybe.
Well, Maybe the tequila will make it more fun.
Will get more fun after this.
That's cute.
Question number 2. How do you think the pandemic is going to change Broadway for the consumer? Clink. I would really like to believe so. Actually, no. I think it already has. Hence the Hamilton Pro Shot.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's changed it for the consumer in the sense that consumers can no longer go, so.
Well, that is also true.
Yes, no, this is a great point.
I think the pandemic will push producers and push Broadway creatives to highly consider or make/record pro shots and not look at it as something that won't be a success or like a reasonable source of income for that production company, whatever. The Hamilton Pro Shot was so successful, and yes, Hamilton was a massive success, so you can kind of deduce that like, okay,
anything
the Pro Shot or anything connected will be a massive success. But I would argue that Broadway on its own needs to be made more accessible. I think we've talked about this here on this channel, but there are a couple of Broadway streaming services that will house pro shots of like She Loves Me with Zachary Levi. Like, so it's out there, but bringing pro shots to Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu, I don't care where it lands, I think is something that is going to become way more popularized because of the pandemic.
I mean, yes, I think it's tricky because if the solution to Broadway being shut down in the pandemic was releasing pro shots, I think we would have seen one of every musical you could possibly imagine, and we haven't. We just haven't.
That's a fair point. We still have not gotten our Wicked pro shot.
Lols. I think that Broadway producers are just waiting.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really fair point. So yeah, as far as the consumer experience goes, I think that we might see some more pro shots in the future, at least. I don't think Stage Door is gonna happen.
No. Well,
in the near future.
So.
You're telling me you wanna go out to that crowd, shake hands?
I was on Broadway when it shut down, and COVID-19 was a very real threat. The general manager of our show would give us, weekly briefs, but it was never like we're shutting down the show. That literally happened in an instant and none of us saw it coming. The briefs that we would get were certain regulatory measures to curb any sort of contact with people who could have potentially been infected. And so the Stage Door was drastically changed, but it wasn't eliminated.
Okay.
And so we all had our own pen. We didn't take pictures. There was a gate. We all stayed 6 feet apart. Like, we signed the program and that was it. Like, there were a lot of things. And, Stage doors happen outside where COVID doesn't really live. Like,
sure. So if people were like in masks?
If we were in masks, if they were in masks, if I used my own pen, if I didn't have to get close to them to take the picture, like, I don't see why not. How is this going to affect the consumer? To the point about making Broadway more accessible, my hope is that everything that opens back up and all of the shows that will fill the theaters that are going to soon be emptied or have already been emptied, those shows are going to have to be very creative with their budget. Low overhead, small cast, minimal sets, selling at half capacity. The theater that's going to be created in the wake of this is going to have to be very minimalistic, and therefore I think, or at least I hope, that means it will also be inexpensive to obtain tickets and to see. Because if the entire overhead is brought down, that means that everyone can be compensated fairly, no one's skimming big money off the top, and audiences can buy cheap tickets.
Yes.
So hopefully that is one positive effect of the way that this has affected theater. Since Broadway has been decimated, when it comes back, hopefully it comes back a little bit more frugally and a little bit less obsessed with giant $50 million productions and just making theater accessible, concise, and containable.
Yeah, Dad.
Shot 3?
Shot number 3.
Oh, that was terrible. I was like flat and sharp and all over the place.
Question number 3. Do you think in the long run the pandemic will have made Broadway more accessible? Ooh.
So, I mean, based on what we said last time, No.
Yes. Oh, what?
Surprise.
Surprise, you disagree.
Everything that I said is what I want to happen.
Oh.
But no, I don't think that Broadway will become any more accessible. I hope that it does, and that seems like the only equitable and safe way to do it. But I don't think that anyone will.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, a little harsh dose of reality, but...
That's what tequila does to me.
Yeah, I mean, one can hope that it will, but the truth is none of us really know. I think all of our points in the previous question were made, but we'll find out.
Hundo. Let's just pour the next shot
Question
and move right along.
Question number 4.
Girl, we just... Bow.
Bow. Answering questions is our job.
It's more like a hobby.
It's a part of your job.
Answering questions?
As like an
artist?
actor.
Oh, yeah.
Well, press, stuff like that.
Oh, I thought you meant like the songs I write, the songs I sing. I mean, answer questions for everything. You know when like your forehead feels fuzzy because you're drunk?
Yes.
My forehead feels fuzzy. Ooh, it's weird.
Question number 4. What?
I'm just drunk.
How do you think the pandemic will change Broadway for the production, i.e. actors and producers? So can I go first just because I have never been on the actor side of Broadway, so I kind of want to like guess.
Okay.
I would have to imagine that things would change. Like my literal first thought goes to As Long as You're Mine and Wicked. Like are Fiyero and Elphaba gonna be all over each other, kissing in the forest? I don't think that these shows are going to change their performances or change their shows to adapt to the pandemic and COVID guidelines. So like I think stage kisses will still be a thing, but the tricky thing is, does the entire company just have to get COVID tested like every week? Like, is that even feasible? How does that happen?
Is it possible to just quarantine, not see anyone else, and for a long time just do what you're supposed to do? I don't know, ask the NBA.
Yeah, like that's a good point. It is possible, but I'm just kind of like, will Broadway producers like go down that route? I don't think so. And
if they want to do this safely and equitably, they have to.
Yeah.
Or they wait until COVID-19 is a distant memory, and in that case, Broadway doesn't come back until 2023. And
like,
as both a theater performer and a theater fan, I just think that's unacceptable. I don't think that we should subsidize the future of Broadway on all of these people's convenience. I think if you want to be on Broadway bad enough, you
quarantine. Like you live in a bubble. You live in Glinda's bubble,
which,
and
by the way,
don't burst it.
I do that anyway.
Yeah.
Like Broadway is not just doing the show. It is a 24-hour gig. You need to get enough sleep. You need to get enough exercise. You need to stretch. You need to eat right. You can't go to the club because you have to take care of your voice. It's like we live sort of a priestly life
Anyways, in a theoretical world, it's possible, but then you just leave it all up to human error, and it's just kind of like, okay. But yeah, as far as like the production side and the producers, I have zero clue. So I'm gonna pass this question off to you.
The answer to all of these questions continues to go, follow the money. How do you test people every week and get those supplies and have the economic capital to do so? How do you make sure that your audience is safe? How do you make sure that your cast is safe? You need money. Where do you find that money? The top. There is no reason why actors doing 8 shows a week are making 1,000 and some change every week, and producers are buying islands. There is also no reason why someone should save up for 4 years to be able to afford the airfare, the hotel, and the massive price of the ticket to see Hamilton once, and producers just collect the check. It is massively inequitable. Therefore, how do a lot of these problems get solved? Money. Where does that money come from? Skimming the massive amount of money that producers take home, saying, you still get to get paid, you found the investors, you put the money up front, you did a lot of work, you deserve to be compensated, but you deserve to be compensated this much, not this much. And the difference can be spent making it so that theater can survive. I don't think that should be something I should be punished for saying. I don't think that should be something that's crazy unfair. I don't think that that's something that is a super radical idea. I think that it's equity. I think that it's justice. And I think that it's the only way that this gets done.
Woo!
Vote McCartan 2024. Last question, right?
I want chapstick. How does it feel? And you guys in the audience, by audience I mean you sitting at home, can also answer this in the comments down below.
Nice.
How does it feel living through Broadway history?
Well, I mean, as someone who literally lived Broadway history, like literally was on Broadway.
You were on Broadway.
I mean,
when the coronavirus pandemic.
Like, I still haven't quite processed it, if I'm totally honest. Just because, like, the day before it happened, I was in my dressing room with Kevin DeLaguila and Bobby Creighton, and we were, like, talking about, gosh, could you imagine if COVID shut us down? And Bobby was like, you know, there's historical precedent to this. In 2007, there was the local union strike with the stagehands, and Broadway shut down for 19 days. And so, you know, Broadway has done it before. They shut down for like a day or two after 9/11. Like, there's historical precedent for Broadway shutting down, waiting it out, and coming back. But that was 19 days. I think in 75, the musicians went on strike for like 25 days. The longest Broadway has ever been shut down is, give or take, a little less than a month. There is no historical precedent for Broadway being shut down for a year plus. And we don't know if it's gonna be a year, if it's gonna be a year and a half, if it's gonna be 2 years, we have no idea. Also, by the way, we've completely failed to mention the possibility that Broadway could open up in the fall only to realize it's unsustainable and close again. These are just the real possibilities, and I hate to highlight them as some sort of pessimist. I'm just trying to be realistic.
Of course.
I think a lot of how I feel about this is obviously defined by the past. I think a lot of how I feel about this is gonna be defined by the future. It's kind of hard to know how I feel because I don't know how the story ends.
Ugh. We don't fully know how to process this because it's not over yet. It's often hard to process things when you're in the middle of them.
Nice.
It's interesting because I feel like I'm living through Broadway history, and I feel like you are living Broadway history. I don't know how to describe that feeling, because for me, as a consumer of Broadway, as a lover of Broadway, I am obviously so saddened by the fact that the ghost light has been on for so long. Like, and that really breaks my heart when I think about all of the people who make a show happen on stage, off stage, in the pit, etc. To just think about the fact that an entire industry is out of business right now. So for me, living through Broadway history, it feels really sad. Go figure. And I like to be an optimist, and I like to believe, and I know that eventually Broadway will come back.
Of course.
Of course it will. To use the very cheesy saying where people have been saying, you know, it's only intermission. I do believe that from some perspectives, this is only intermission. Maybe it's just a 3-year-long intermission, who knows?
And listen, the second act is always better.
The second act is always better. I cannot wait for the opening of Act 2 number. Are you dead?
I think a great way to end this video is just to imagine for a moment the energy on, behind, and in front of the stage.
Oh my God.
The day that Broadway does reopen. And that energy on Broadway, when the lights come back on, is going to be something that will only match the historical weight of how long it's been closed. And it does bring me great joy to imagine that night.
I have a very last minute question. What, in an ideal world, would be the first show that you would see post-pandemic? Let's say everything is safe, everything is in the clear. And what moment are you most looking forward to? I already have mine. It's one that's widely talked about. I would run my little skinny butt to go see Wicked, because I cannot imagine the applause that is going to happen when Glinda comes down in the bubble and delivers, "It's good to see me, isn't it?" Like, that is a moment that just brings me so much joy. And like, that is the moment, like you're talking about, that like as an audience member, I'm just holding on to.
Yeah, Hamilton for me.
Yeah.
The heartbeat of that entire show is the energy of an entire nation rallied around a common cause, and the nation of musical theater rallied around the ideas of its resurgence and its renaissance. I can't even imagine the electricity of being in the audience for that moment.
I feel like that was a really nice note to end on. That was a really good call. I'm very, very much looking forward to the day that Broadway returns. I know we all are, but in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it brought you some joy getting to hear us discuss Broadway. Thank you for, in your own way, being a part of this discussion.
As always, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel, YouTube.
Thank you so much for watching. We will see you guys later.
Bye, Daddy.
Bye, Daddy.
Stream Politician.
Oh, Stream Politician. Good. And also donate to the Actors Fund. Reminder, it's down there. Okay, now bye, Daddy.
Bye, Dad.